Greetings, aspirants. Hope you're doing well. This evening, we are here to discuss our fourth topic or fourth Pre Naipunyata workbook. So, as you all know, we have already shared you with the newspaper article and the sample question. If you are new to Pre Naipunyata workbook, let us discuss how this Pre Naipunyata workbook is to be utilized or used by the aspirants. Let's go through it briefly. Now, first, how to use this workbook? First, we will be giving you a newspaper article that you will have to read. Then you will have to understand the article completely. Based on the newspaper article, we will be providing you with the PYQs that are asked on the based on the article or the concept or the key concept that is given in the article. Now, we will also give you one sample question. One sample question for you to write based on the article. So today, let's see what is the newspaper article that we have given. This is the article that we have provided you with. What is the article? The article talks about the law around low carbon climate resilient development. The low carbon climate resilient development. Now, in this article, they have provided us with the judgment of M.K. Ranjit Singh versus Union of India judgment, wherein the Supreme Court has given us the right to life, saying that right to be free from adverse impacts of climate change is a part of right to life as well as right to equality. What are they? Article 21 and Article 14 of the Indian Constitution. So, right? So, they have said how to realize the articles or the right that is provided by the Supreme Court, how to realize it. The probable solutions to realize such right has been given in the article, which you will have to understand by reading the article. Now, after that, you can see that we have given you various PYQs based on the topic climate change. What are they? We have given you UPSC questions from 2023 as well as 2022, right? Now we have asked you to write an answer on the question, highlight the multifaceted challenges arising from climate change in India and analyze the government initiatives to minimize carbon footprint. Now we have given you an empty template wherein you will have to fill the template, right? First, we will identify what is the keyword that are asked in the question. Here in this question, we have given you two keywords. Unlike the last pre-work books where we have given you just single question to answer, we are giving you now two parts of the question. That is, highlight the multifaceted challenges arising from climate change in India and analyze the government initiatives to minimize carbon footprint. So what are the keywords here? Highlight as well as analyze. Now, when the keywords like highlight and analyze are seen in a question, you need to understand how to structure your answer. We have discussed that analyze or highlight, meaning you will have to tell the importance or how the challenges are affecting our country in particular, because the demand of the question is how are the challenges affecting India. Now, challenges, if you understand, they are also known as the impacts of climate change, or they are also known as the consequences of climate change. So do not get confused by the terms. Here, again, the another keyword is analyze. Whenever you see words like keywords like analyze or discuss, it means that you need to substantiate or analyze the dimension that you are giving as the answer there. So we will go through each step of the answer writing. I will be writing down a model answer for you so that you will understand how to attempt the Pre Naipunyata workbook, right? Now, the key concepts that are asked here is climate change as well as carbon footprint. Now, you need to first understand what are they. So, your basic understanding should be what is climate change and what is carbon footprint. After you understand what are the key concepts that are asked, what is the demand of the question and the keywords to structurize your answer, we will start with various kinds of introductions that can be written. Now let's see. We are asking you to write 3 types of introductions. One is current affairs based. Now the article that we were reading about also is a current affairs, right? Now the article was mentioning about right to live free from adverse impacts of climate change, right? So you can mention that recently Supreme Court judgment in the case of Ranjit Singh versus Union of India has given us the right to life free from adverse impact of climate change under Article 14 and Article 21, right? Or you can write definitions. Definition of climate change. What is the definition of climate change? So the change in temperature patterns or wind patterns over a long period of time. Long period of time. That is at least 10 years, that is a decade. So in 10 years, if you see that the temperature pattern, the changes in temperature has increased or decreased or changed a lot, and also if the wind patterns are changing, then you call it as climate change. Now that is the definition. You can also write that as the introduction. Now climate change is again of 2 types. There are the climate change happens due to natural phenomena like due to sun's activity or due to volcanic eruptions, right? Even through volcanic eruptions, you can see that there is sulfur dioxide being emitted, which is also a greenhouse gas, and the surface temperature of the earth rises. Now, report based. Let us say I am taking the example of International Panel for Climate Change, that is IPCC. IPCC states that since pre-industrial levels, since pre-industrial times, the surface temperature of Earth rised by approximately 1.2 degrees centigrade till date. Now, why is it so? It is due to the climate change and increased greenhouse gas emissions. Now we have addressed, we know how variously you can write based on a report or based on a definition, based on current affairs. We have given 3 types of introductions. Now, how do you start your dimensions? So directly, the question is asking you to highlight the challenges of climate change in India particularly. So I will say the first challenge is water scarcity. Now, as per UN report, it says that in India, 10 to 20% of volume of water in Indian rivers is going to decrease by 2050. So if the volume of water is going to decrease by 2050 due to climate change, due to climate change, that means it is going to create water scarcity. So I am substantiating the fact that there is going to be water scarcity in India because of climate change by a report, by the date of a report, that is the UN report. Now, I will say that there is food scarcity that might happen due to climate change. Now, how will I substantiate this? I am saying I am taking the basis of Economic Survey of India 2018, wherein the Economic Survey of India says that the yield or the productivity of agriculture has drastically decreased, in the year 2018 due to climate change. How due to climate change? Due to erratic rainfall patterns or decreased water resources, right? So all these, which are the effects or the effects of climate change, are being impacting the food security in India. And how do we know that? We know it from the data of Economic Survey of India. Now, India has a long sea coast. So one of the impacts of climate change is sea level rise, right? Now, when the sea level is rising, that means there is coastal erosion. We are not discussing the topics of sea level rise or how the sea level is rising, all that. We are just discussing how to structure the answer and what can be written as the dimensions under the impacts. So sea level rise is also an impact. Now, this causes coastal erosion, which means the low island states or cities in the country, like Mumbai, is endangered. Right? Now, we can also say that due to climate change, there is increase in climatic disasters. Now, what is the report that says that the climatic disasters are on rise? That is UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR. So this report says that due to climate change, the frequency and intensity of the climatic disasters like tropical cyclones, you can mention the frequency of super cyclones that is there previous century and now, right? Recently, we had super cyclone Michong that has affected very drastically the country in India. So we have tropical cyclones, we have heat waves, we have high frequency of cloud bursts. So all this is happening due to the climatic change, that is increase in surface temperature due to the greenhouse gas emissions that is happening. So these are some of the challenges that we have discussed. There are more challenges that you can use. Now next, let's jump on to the second part, wherein we are analyzing the government initiatives. What are the steps taken by the government to decrease carbon footprint? So if you see, as per the data of World Meteorological Organization, it says that the per capita carbon footprint of Indians is 60% less than the world's average. Right? As in India is 60%, has a carbon footprint that is less than 60% when compared to world's average. Now, apart from this, we say that garment is a part of Kyoto Protocol, whose aim is to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, right? We are part of Paris Agreement, wherein the target is to limit the surface temperature rise to 1.5 degrees to 2 degrees centigrade by the end of the century, that is 2100, right? To what levels are we trying to decrease? To the pre-industrial levels. And we are also part of United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So through various international frameworks, we are already trying to reduce the carbon footprint of India. Now let us see what are the initiatives in particular. I would say National Clean Air Program, NCAP. Clean Air Program is one of the initiatives wherein we are trying to reduce the emissions from vehicles. Right? We can also say National Hydrogen Policy. National Hydrogen Policy. In National Hydrogen Policy, what is the target? Our target is to avoid carbon emissions of 50 million metric tons by 2030. And what kind of hydrogen are we trying to use to extract hydrogen to be used in the fuel cells? We are trying the green hydrogen. Now, what is green hydrogen? What is green hydrogen? The green hydrogen is when the hydrogen, the extraction of the hydrogen process is using renewable sources of energy. That such kind of hydrogen is called as green hydrogen. Do we have any other initiatives to reduce carbon footprint? We have Satat, wherein we are trying to bring affordable transportation, alternative affordable transportation. Right? Then we have Gobardhan. We also have FAME 2 for vehicular pollution. We have so many initiatives. We also have Life Mission, wherein we are trying to build or have a mass global movement in lifestyle change for environment. Right? So these are the various initiatives that you can list out with their goals, with their statistics and data. That is the aim, or that is how we structurize the answer. Now, when we see the type of conclusions that you can write, right? Now, here we see that you can write a balanced conclusion. How do you balance your conclusion? Saying that though there are immense challenges of climate change that are happening, strict and immediate actions can make us realize the targets of Paris Agreement. Or you can also mention that India has set various targets under Panchamrit, which our Prime Minister has announced during COP26. There are 5 targets. That is the energy, 500 gigawatts of energy from fossil fuels, will be reduced. Then you have various things like reduction of carbon emissions by 51 billion tons by 2030, right? Reduction in carbon intensity of the economy, 45% reduction by 2030. Next, we have net zero emissions by 2070. So these are the targets of Panchamrit, wherein India is trying to realize or achieve the target set under Paris Agreement or target set under Kyoto Protocols to reduce the footprint, carbon footprint, right? This can be your conclusion, your balanced conclusion. Next, you have SDG linked conclusion. Now, how do you write SDG linked conclusion? We know that SDGs are the sustainable development goals are all targeted to achieve by 2030, right? This happened in 2015. The goals are set in 2015, the same year as the Paris Agreement. So to achieve the targets of Paris Agreement, the way is to achieve sustainable development. They go hand in hand. Now, what kind of SDGs can be realized? One, SDG 7, SDG 13, that is climate action, SDG 12, what is it? Responsible production and consumption. Production and consumption. So you can link the SDGs and tell how you can achieve to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and link it to reduction of carbon footprint. That is one way of concluding. Then if you see what is the futuristic conclusion, we can say that by following or by making policies to achieve or realize the fundamental right that has been given to us by right to life and right to equality, we can say that any organization in lines with Niti Aayog, if you set up an organization in lines with Niti Aayog, which is taking the help of the state government to make frameworks that will reduce the carbon footprint. That is going to reduce the carbon footprint. So if you can make a body like Niti Aayog, especially to reduce the carbon footprint, that can help in achieving the or realizing the right that is given to us in the Supreme Court judgment. So in this way, we can say futuristically, we will be achieving or we will be reducing the carbon footprint by reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. Now, if you ask how and what is the use of these reports and indices that are related to the topic, these boxes that are present in the template. Now, I am saying that you can write here the International Panel for Climate Change 6th assessment report is the assessment report that you will be going through to understand or to use the data or statistics for climate change. 6th assessment report that is given in 2021. So as per IPCC, what are the main findings? That the sea level rise is going to be 2 meters by the end of the century and 5 meters by 2150. Right. Now, this is not something that I am saying or some random people saying. It is given in the report. So when you have data like this accumulated at one place, you can write various things. That the sea level rise we have addressed. It also says the volume of water that we have already discussed. The volume of water in Indian rivers is going to decrease by 10% to 20% of its volume by 2050. So there are various other findings in the report, which if you can collect and put it in the template, it will be useful for you to refer and understand how you can use the same data on various questions that might arise from the same topic of climate change. Now, if you have any doubts regarding this question or the structure of the question, you might ask. So hope you understood how to structurize your answer and answer according to the demand of the question and the keywords of the question. Thank you.